Welcome back to Inside Wildcat Country. In 2008, UNH launched Operation Hat Trick, the program dedicated in the memory of Navy SEALs Nate Hardy, son of UNH professor Dr. Stephen Hardy, and Mike Koch, who died together in battle that same year. Since it began, the program grew into something nobody ever expected to happen. And one of the key components into launching its national initiative was the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who were in town for Operation Hat Trick Night at the Whittemore Center.
On February 1st, the University of New Hampshire celebrated its 6th annual Operation Hat Trick Night at the Whittemore Center. Each season, the Wildcat men's hockey team participates in the event that supports OHT. Operation Hat Trick generates awareness, support, and funding for the recovery of America's wounded warriors through the sale of OHT-branded merchandise. What began as a simple idea of giving wounded service men and women hats to cover their scars has turned into a nationwide phenomenon. Born on the UNH campus in Durham, Operation Hat Trick has become much more than just a story of hockey and hats.
You know, Operation Hat Trick, you think about hockey only, and it is so much more than that. It's not just a hat, and I tell the story often. The first young man I ever met at Walter Reed was very badly burned, and he started to cry when I gave him a hat, and he put it on, and he said, "Ma'am, you've almost made me feel normal today, and maybe, just maybe, my 5-year-old won't be afraid of me this afternoon when he comes to visit."
Dot Sheehan is the Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Relations at UNH, and she's the founder of OHT. Sheehan explains how the program has developed in recent years since going national in 2012.
Yeah, in a million years, never would have thought we'd be where we are right now. Probably a $2.5 million business at retail in under 2 years. And this year we're on pace to donate out $100,000, which is just fabulous.
OHT was founded in 2008. It has grown to include more than 220 schools across the country. The program hasn't stopped there. It welcomes other organizations with open arms.
When you see that where it's grown, we have a small corporate division. We hope to go international in Canada with the NHL, and they have asked us to figure out Canadian service members and military and veterans, and we have done that.
In 2011, DOT presented Operation Hat Trick to the National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics. At the time, OHT was only in Durham and only revolved around the sale of hats.
That really got people interested, including Notre Dame. And when Notre Dame and collegiate licensing said, we need to do something with this, that is when everything turned around. Because with that, their concept with DOT turned from an extra hat for every two sold to revenue streams that we could then distribute to worthy causes.
And I didn't realize what you're combining, the love of your country and the love of your school. Initially is what it turned out to be. Now we've got corporate logos on hats, we've got pro teams, minor league teams, we've got all kinds of things.
As a result of the ever-growing brand, OHT is becoming more recognizable all over the country.
Our coaches here at UNH will send pictures. A young woman on a plane coming back from Florida, she's got the BC Operation Hat Trick hat on. Or our swim coach is at a meet and he's next to the new Florida State coach who has an Operation Hat Trick hat on. Both coaches were wearing their Operation Hat Trick hats. Or at a volleyball tournament in Indianapolis, the store was full of them. There must have been 24 schools represented of hats they were selling. So I'm always amazed when I see it on campuses, when I see kids wearing it. It does my heart good.
Coming up after the break, we'll hear how OHT has directly impacted organizations that benefit from the program.
And that is just an example or a symbol when they have the hat and somebody on the street sees and recognizes them as a veteran or a wounded warrior or whatever. I think that's key.
You're watching Inside Wildcat Country.
Welcome back to Inside Wildcat Country. Operation Hat Trick raises funds for a number of different organizations in the community. Most recently, OHT expanded its partnership with Northeast Passage by contributing the largest gift to their PATH program. OHT also partnered with Veterans Count in order to help them launch their new CARE initiative to help pre-9/11 veterans. Let's take a closer look at how Operation Hat Trick is helping out in the community.
The driving factor behind Operation Hat Trick's mission is the support that it gives to organizations that provide direct services to our wounded warriors. One of these is a program called Veterans Count.
Veterans Count is a program of Easter sales. Their mission really is twofold, to create awareness throughout their local communities, but to also raise money for emergency assistance for our veterans, service members, as well as their family members. It is a program that is probably one of the newest programs within Easter Seals, New Hampshire, that has been around since 2007 actually, but it has grown significantly over the past 7 years. It came to be through the National Guard with a care coordination program for soldiers and airmen that were deploying. We found out early on that they were experiencing some challenges upon return and their reintegration into society.
More than 2.5 million Americans have served our country in Iraq and Afghanistan. 1 in 3 return home with an invisible wound of war, including post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury. Operation Hat Trick serves as a unifying symbol for those veterans who sometimes struggle with the day-to-day challenges of returning from war.
First of all, they're very proud. Any veteran is very proud. They don't want a handout. In some cases, they may need a handout. But the recognition that they have served, and that is just an example or a symbol when they have the hat and somebody on the street sees and recognizes them as a veteran or a wounded warrior or whatever. It was a marriage made in heaven, and when it first came to be, and it continues to grow and morph, and we're happy to be associated and affiliated.
Another organization supported by OHT can be found right here in Wildcat Country.
So Northeast Passage is a privately funded program of the University of New Hampshire. We're a therapeutic recreation organization. And our organization has several faces. The first and probably the one most seen by folks is our adaptive sports and recreation program, working with folks with physical disabilities.
In 2013, Northeast Passage and Operation Hat Trick announced the creation of the NEP Athlete Opportunity Fund. This created support for recruiting, training, and coaching of student athletes with disabilities and disabled veterans. Just another example of how OHT continues to evolve.
At the outset, my understanding was like giving somebody something. But what I really appreciate the way that it's grown is that it has really kind of networked with a lot of different schools and other organizations to be kind of almost like a unifying rally around, here is the symbol of a hat, but it's really so much more than that. And is a way for people to, with a tangible item, jump onto the theme of how do we support people.
In the spring and summer months, Operation Hat Trick will enter uncharted territory, an idea sparked by one of New Hampshire's own, Concord High School Athletic Director Steve Mello.
I'm a UNH alum, and every spring I come and speak in Dr. Hardy's, one of Dr. Hardy's sports administration classes. We're pretty close, and one day I got there a little early, and he explained the program to me. I got interested, and my mind started racing on the way home how I could get my students involved in supporting such a great initiative, so that's where it started. And after that, brought the idea to my colleagues at the New Hampshire Athletic Directors Association. We signed up 63 schools to participate in the New Hampshire Operation Hat Trick New Hampshire initiative this spring.
Steve, when he heard about what was going on with Operation Hat Trick, had the idea to get every high school in New Hampshire on board. And saw the potential here, and they decided that all the money that they raised through the royalties of the sale of the hats will stay for vets in New Hampshire. And we're pretty excited about that model because we think, and Steve thinks, and other ADs in New Hampshire think, that could go national, state by state, and what a wonderful thing that would be.
There are millions of high school athletes, there are hundreds of thousands of college athletes. So it seemed to me that there was a market there to raise money for veterans that need help. $5 from every hat went directly to Operation Hat Trick, and so to this point we've raised almost $70,000 by my count.
You know, you have teenage students who are being exposed to what the military does and the need for support and all of that. Those young people are making decisions about whether they're going to college or not, whether they go in the military, and if they're going to college, where do they go to college? This is particularly good for the University of New Hampshire that 10,000 teenagers are now being exposed to UNH through Operation Hat Trick.
There are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of schools, there are a lot of colleges, there are a lot of professional teams. So in a way, the sky's the limit.